So, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about the naturalization interview process. So, if you're worried about what documents to bring to your naturalization interview or what questions you will be asked at your naturalization interview, I've shot separate videos about those topics and I've put them in the descriptions. So, this video again will go through what will happen at your naturalization interview. What's the process like? So the first thing is you have to show up on time. It's really, really important, right? You have to be there at the time that's on your naturalization interview notice. What I tell everyone is show up about half an hour or 15 minutes early. Since COVID started, hopefully you're watching this after COVID's already passed, they don't let anyone into the building more than 15 minutes early. So at least 15 minutes early show up. I tell everyone show up at least half an hour if you can early so you have some time. They may not let you in immediately, but this way you're there on time and you're not going to cause any delays to your case. If one of our attorneys from our firm is going to your interview with you, we will tell you, where we will meet. We usually meet about an hour before the interview with clients. The next thing, once you show up, what happens is you will meet security first. So there's a security checkpoint. Think of it as like airport security. So what will happen is you will show your interview notice when you show up, and the officers will compare it to your ID, the security officers. They'll make sure you're you and you're the person that's listed on the notice. And then you will go through something like airport security, right? So you'll take off your belts, you'll put all your electronics, all your watches, all of, jewelry, all those things in a little bin, and you'll walk through a metal detector. The reason I'm telling you this goes back to showing up early, right? If you show up late, this may delay you because sometimes there's lineups at security. So first thing is going to be a security checkpoint, right? Once you get through security, the next step is checking in with USCIS. Now, depending on the USCIS field office you're at, this could look a few different ways, right? At smaller offices, for example, at our Charleston, South Carolina office, it's, very easy. You just walk in, there's only one place to go, and check-in will be right there, right? At bigger offices, New York, LA, Miami, etc., you have to make sure you get to the right floor of the building in order to check in. So make sure you read your interview notice. If you can't figure it out, ask someone, because again, it's important to show up on time. So what happens at check-in is that you're going to walk up. There's usually like a booth and an officer behind that booth who will look at your interview notice. And after that, they will ask you to place your thumb and your index finger on a little like a fingerprint reader to make sure that you are you and you're the person that's supposed to come to the interview. If we're watching this video and COVID is still a thing, they will also ask you questions about contact with anyone who's been exposed to COVID, international travel, things of that nature. If you answer affirmatively, if you say, yes, I've been in contact with someone who's had COVID, etc., they're going to reschedule your interview. So just know that. Hopefully you're watching this, COVID is no longer a thing, and then you don't have to worry about it. But basically after you check in with the front desk on the floor where the interview will be, you will be asked to sit down and wait your turn when the officer will call you. So I tell everyone this is probably the worst part of the whole interview process because you don't know how long you will wait. You may wait, literally just 10 minutes and the officer shows up immediately, or you may wait a really long time, an hour sometimes even, for the officer to call your name. What I tell everyone is do not freak out if you see people who showed up after you, who checked in after you, if they're starting to be called before you. The reason this is happening is because it's each officer's individual schedule. So basically, each case is assigned to an officer, and an officer has a schedule. Every hour they have a different case, right? If the case before you or two cases before that got delayed, well, then you have to wait, right? And the other officer who might be calling the people who, showed up after you, his cases or her cases may not have been delayed, right? So it's just pure luck. And the reason I'm bringing this up about the wait times is I tell everyone, make sure you eat. Make sure, if your morning routine includes coffee, drink your coffee, right? You don't want to sit there for an hour hungry and grumpy. That's just not what you want to do. So prepare as if you may have to wait a long time for the officer to call you. The next step is you'll see an officer, walk out of a back door, and the officer will call your name. In some places, you may have like a case number, like at the DMV, you pull a number and they call that number. And what you do at that point is you go up to the officer, and you're going to be escorted to a back room, the officer's office. And what's going to happen is first you're going to stand. The officer is going to swear you in. So what that means is the officer is going to ask you to swear that you're going to tell nothing but the truth at this interview. And after that, you're going to sit down and picture it, like a conversation as if you were in an office and someone's behind the desk, right? And the officer will then start the interview asking you questions. If you have an attorney with you, right? So in our case, when I go with clients, it depends how the room's set up. The attorney may sit next to you or behind you. It just kind of depends on how the chairs are set up in the room. And that's really it, right? You go through all the questions, and like I said, there's a separate video. You can find it in the description about the questions and what the officer will be asking. You go through all of that, and at the end of the interview, the officer will tell you how it went. I tell everyone, ask. If you're not told, ask. Don't just leave, because obviously you want to know how the interview went. So there's usually 3 options, right? One is the officer will say, hey, you didn't pass the civics test or the English language test. In that case, they'll ask you, USCIS will ask you to show up again for another interview. Another option, most common one, right, is that you're recommended for approval, which means that soon you will receive a notice to appear for your oath ceremony. And a third option that comes up sometimes is that the officer may say, hey, I need to review the case. I'm seeing something here that requires further review. That's another option. Rarely, but it does happen, right? If there's something really wrong with your case, if you filed something incorrectly, or if you were not eligible, the officer may just tell you USCIS is going to deny the case right then and there. In my experience, that's fairly rare. But definitely walk away knowing how it went and what you can expect further. And that's it. That's the naturalization interview process. Please watch the next 2 videos about the documents to bring and the questions that you will be asked. Thanks so much for watching.